Hey, folks, welcome to the Redneck Country Podcast. You were on with Real Redneck Todd Millard. And, of course, we've got the almost guy, Real Redneck Bill. Tom, Bill, are you there?
I am here, and it's a beautiful night for a podcast.
It is a beautiful night for a podcast. And beside me is the patriarch of Redneck Country, my father, Don Millard. Real Redneck Don Millard. Dad, is your mic hot?
It's hot. So am I. It's a hot walk over.
Bill, I got one question.
The air conditioning going on?
Has he got?
Yes.
Yeah, well, we have the air conditioning going on. Trust me. In this place, and the minute that it is bedtime, it goes down to 66.
Crazy.
Same as my
Absolutely
place.
crazy.
68 right now. I left 68. It's going down to 66 when I go to bed. I got a blast of hot air when I left the house to walk over here.
Never drops below 72 in my house.
Jeez, I couldn't sleep.
Crazy.
Fish out of water.
It's all the anger raging through me that keeps the temperature in this house up. That's what it is.
It's a bunch of hot air is what I believe it is.
Yeah. No doubt. Yeah, there you go. You had one question. What was your question before I cut you off so early in the podcast?
No, just want to know how you and Candace are. How is everything?
You know, there was touch and go there for a day or two because it was either she come down there and put a whooping on you, or I had to hold her back from.
Don't look. It was the producers. It wasn't me. I had nothing to do with it.
Right. Yeah. She was very beside herself for a day or two, but we sorted things out and we came back to our own path. So
no Tinder accounts were made.
No, I had a couple strange friend requests, but other than that, we sorted our differences out.
That's awesome.
That's and the funny thing is, everybody who knows us knows that it was so unbelievable or unreal that it was humorous.
Well, and I thought it was well worded. I must give it up to the production team. I thought it was very well worded.
And my wife will have a conversation offline with the production team when she sees that member next.
I thought it was very creative. But like, hey, Bill and Candace split up. But you did. You split up for that day. You went fishing.
Sure did.
She went shooting.
Yeah.
So, So anybody that's wondering, it's the last week's podcast release. There was a little bit of creative writing on what it was about.
Yes, very creative. My jaw dropped when I saw the title and the wording of it.
Okay, be honest, who'd it bother more, you or Candace?
Who was bothered more?
Yeah.
Oh, Candace. Yeah, she was like,
get worked up over that kind of stuff, right? They're like, but what if people actually think we broke up? But they're not gonna, because that's just too funny. But what if they do? Oh my gosh.
Yep, that's what they did. So she was monitoring my Facebook account there for a while just to make sure there was no different.
What's his name, Bill? What's his name? How come you know him?
The best part is I got nothing to hide.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah. So this week was actually we got probably going to have to cut this one into a two-parter with everything that we had going on in our lives.
Who do we want to talk about?
Holy smokes!
You, me, or Dad?
So much. Yeah. If we put you on first, your dad and I will have nothing as part of part two or
it's a
whatever.
True story. That's a true story. I implore you to listen, because if anybody out there, the next couple podcasts, you're gonna learn a heck of a lot about us and about fishing.
Yeah,
I tell you what,
I got that. There's some social media posts there that led me to believe that you guys had a phenomenal trip.
That was pretty good. I could not complain in any way, shape, or form. It was absolutely awesome. I don't even know where to start, and I know you don't want me to start, because then, like you said, the hour would be up fairly quick.
So, I mean, I can start only because I didn't have nearly as exciting of a weeks as you guys did, but I can tell you a couple things right off the hop. I took my brother fishing.
Yeah. I seen that.
It was a fantastic day. I tell you what, the boat worked exactly like it was supposed to. Fish finder didn't work at all because there was no fish underneath it where we went. But man, I tell you, it was a great day. We got to the launch, and it was one of those pay-as-you-go type things.
No anxiety backing in. Did you have to book your time?
Nobody was there. We came there early enough because I talked to Pee-Pee, and he said, you got to get there early or you're not going to have a spot to park. So we left my house at 5:30, which was tough for him to get out of bed for, but he did. I give him credit; he got out of bed.
Is 7 to 11 even open at that time, or Max, or whatever, wherever he gets his breakfast burrito and his 2-liter bottle of pop and Monster energy drinks.
Monster energy drinks. And I had some sandwiches made and some Gatorades in a cooler. It was like a full guide service. You
had some sandwiches. See?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I made sandwiches the night before.
You made somebody a good wife, Bill. I tell you what.
Yeah, I tell you, I find my own. I get sandwiches and drinks and full guide service. I had room and board for him there, and he came and slept at the house, and while we watched the ball game, and got up in the morning and went to the launch. And this launch, like I said, pay as you go, but they wouldn't dispense a ticket. And at the time, I didn't really think too much about it, and it didn't dispense a ticket. And then I looked on the sign below. It said Civic Holiday. No charge on Civic Holiday. Well, we went Civic Weekend. We didn't go on the Civic Holiday per se. So we went out fishing. And we came back, and sure enough, $125 fine on my my van for parking outside of hours.
There goes your taxidermy. So now you had to eat the fish instead of get it mounted.
Well, that's it. That's exactly right. It was one of them. Do I pay the fine or do I eat the fish? And I haven't done either yet because I didn't catch but one perch. And in a 6.5-hour fishing trip, we washed lures, we trolled, we went around from 8 feet to 20 feet.
I take that back, folks. You are not going to learn a lot about fishing.
Not from this guy today. I tell you, the almost guy had a great fish. The only thing that was there was we almost had enough fish for like one very small person to have a meal. That's it. We got one beautiful perch, and that was it, folks. That was it from the almost guy.
Oh, he caught it. You were Jay. Be honest.
I ended up catching it. Yeah, we had a bet going. It was for the first fish, $10, and for the biggest fish, $10. And my 1 quarter-pound perch won me $20. Yeah,
who was driving?
I was driving.
So really, you caught that fish, and then you made sure those fish finders didn't work.
Well, the best part was I caught it right at almost the end of the day. So I had the control. So we basically just, after I caught the fish, we worked our way back to the boat launch and took off and went home. So he had a great day on the boat. We had the music going and the sandwiches, and yeah, it was good. We had some fun, but in the boats all the way around us, it was the storm front came in the next day. Actually, that night it stormed very, very heavily here. But up north on Lake Simcoe, there was like 6 or 7 boats around the island, and not one of them had the bent rod going on. So I can't say it was just us,
but it was a good time with your brother.
Tell you what, it was great.
And he ate some sandwiches.
Overdue. Yeah, it was long overdue. I mean, we don't get out very much. I like to, we get out for the hunt once a year, and but the fishing we could do more, but we're just so busy with life and work and stuff that we don't take enough time to do that. And now I got the boat, and hopefully, as the year progresses, we can, like next year, we can get out another couple times, and there you go. So it was fun, lots of fun.
Yeah, right on.
So, yeah, and the other interesting thing is we got some doe tags. I don't know if you guys have checked out.
Oh, I haven't even checked. That's how confident I am that we're going to be okay.
Yeah, well, but
I'm assuming
for the Alliance, we got 3 doe tags. My dad didn't get one, which is the only disappointing part because he has the most opportunity to hunt up there and the closest to the camp, but he didn't get them.
How good is he at making sandwiches?
He's a conservationist anyways. Unless that thing is, right in front of him, laying down, he's typically going to pass on that deer. So he's okay with being in the bush and just watching things and helping us and having a camp day, with his kids and stuff. So Yeah, it was good. That was it.
Right on. Three doe tags. So you guys will be rocking and rolling this year. That's all right.
3 doe tags for the four of us in the alliance there. So we're anxiously awaiting to see. I'm going up this weekend actually to visit my dad and take him fishing, which I haven't had the opportunity to do in many, many years. And it's always fun when you can take your dad fishing.
Is that true?
I was waiting for somebody to kick in there and ask and make a comment on that.
It was like pause, awkward moment of silence.
Yeah, waiting for your dad to jump all over you with some comment about how fun it is going fishing with your son.
Oh yeah, you might hear that tonight.
Definitely.
It's action packed. I will tell you that.
Yeah,
some would almost say life or death situations.
It was all I could do to bite my tongue at that moment. I didn't want to spoil it.
I was trying to set you up for a slam dunk for later on.
I was there, Bill.
But yeah, no, I'm anxious to take my dad out. He's the try it guy. He likes to try this lure and try that spot and try this, and he would like to wash every lure in his box, and he likes the electronics to be able to see what's underneath and plays with that. And he likes, it's what he spends his time doing. And he fishes too, but he likes the other stuff, the getting out there. And so if we catch fish, great. I mean, I got a new fishing rod coming. I talked to Mr. Nick Obermach and bought one of the rods that he's endorsing, and that comes, I think, tomorrow or the next day. So
right on.
I'm anxious to get up.
Yeah, we give him a plug. What's the name of the company? Tactical fishing gear.
Tactical, yeah, tactical fishing.
They look cool. I'll tell you what.
Well, that kind of is what sold me. And his fishing videos for Pond Predator, where he's catching peckerel on I don't know if it's like St. Clair, Detroit River, where he is.
St. Clair, yeah, mostly. And Detroit River, yeah, yep.
Yeah. So I texted him. I said, "Hey, I'm thinking about getting one of these new fishing rods there. I haven't bought a new rod in 9 years. I was due." And he says, he highly endorses that. And I asked him what reel that he pairs it up with, and he gave me a recommendation. So I bought the reel that showed up today. And I'm not sure it'll make me a better fisherman.
Bait caster or spin caster?
Spin caster. I wanted a drop shot rig for 7'2". I think it's a 7'2" drop shot rig with a Fluger fishing reel. So yeah, so the name is cool. I've never had a Fluger before. So it's going to be fun if I can get that in time to go up north, and it'll be in the boat for this Sunday when we're going to head out in the water.
Right on.
So, there you go. That's a little bit. I'm going to hit the gun club too, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
At the second, next
on
podcast,
the second one? All right. We'll hold that over because, you're a new member of such and you've got some stories there.
Sure do. But I'd like to
look forward to that.
I've taken enough of the podcast because I know that the Millard...
I've taken enough. It's only been 13 minutes. Come on.
He's trying to set you an example, Todd, but you are a tough teach. You just do not learn. Even the comments at the start, we can't let you go first. Follow my lead. That's what he's saying. But you're not learning.
Anyway,
I figure that's going to be the cadence and the rhythm for the entire podcast. How Tom, Don,
you just broke up there, Bill. Say that again. Sorry.
Yeah,
it'll be the topical of the podcast.
Yeah, how Todd doesn't learn.
Todd doesn't learn.
There you go.
Oh, geez, here we go already. He hasn't even started talking yet.
Yep. And I was anxious to hear what your dad had to say first so that he can have a preemptive strike.
I don't know. Maybe we want to hear about the gun club.
Next time.
All right.
So, gentlemen, do I need to have the let's get ready?
Sure. I'll go. Anyway, while we're away, we're sitting in the cottage. What a great week I had. It was relaxing. It was wonderful. I read a whole book. It was cool.
Am I allowed to talk during this?
You can comment. I don't mind you commenting.
Good.
It was a beautiful breeze coming off the St. Lawrence River all the time. At night, it cooled right down. We carted 2 great big heavy air conditioners up there because there weren't any in the cottage. We didn't even need them. Never even took them out of the car. Every night, right over my head out of my bedroom window. A nice little cool air breeze came in. Oh, nice sleeping every night. Nice in the.
It did get really cool at night coming off that.
Did you guys camp together? Like you had
one cottage, 3-bedroom cottage.
One 3-bedroom cottage.
7
like you guys don't see each other enough. You had to get one cottage for everybody.
Right? With my mother and my aunt.
7 of us. It was testy.
Now, no doubt.
The kids were a blast. They kept us laughing the whole time. Everybody didn't want to come home. They had a great time. It was just fun. Fun. So anyway,
fun.
I'm up there and I get a text, and it's from Bill Malcolm at our
I just got a text from my wife that says, "Let your dad tell the story."
So anyway, it said the summer interclub's starting. So I just read it really quickly because I'm up at the cottage. I didn't look at dates or anything. And when I get home, my buddy Bill, he says, I went down shooting without you guys Wednesday night. Oh, great. You went by yourself? He says, yep. How'd you make out? He says, I pulled in. There was one guy standing at the gate telling me that the interclub was at Otter Valley. He said, I didn't even know there was an interclub. Oh my gosh. I forward him any emails to make sure he gets them, or email. It was an email, and forward emails. And I never even thought about it because I didn't read. I was away and I didn't read the dates. I thought they would have given us a couple of weeks notice it was starting, but him and the guy at the gun club, they shot 3 rounds anyway. He didn't go to the interclub. So I was surprised at that, but I was glad he went, and he had a nice time. He said, me and my buddy down there, we had shot 3 rounds. We had a good night without you. I said, well, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. And
then, it's stepping out into some small branches too, because Bill was introduced to the gun club by you guys, and now he's able to go on his own and feel comfortable there by himself.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of cool. Yeah,
that's good.
Yes, in fact, the guy that was there, he says, hey, are you and Don brothers? And Bill said, I had to laugh because I said, no, we're not brothers. He says, well, you guys look a lot alike. He said, yeah, but we're not brothers. Anyway, well, then I was ticked because then I realized, and I said to Todd, is this true? I got another email saying that I have to pay the ATA and the OPTA dues again to shoot this September. I said, we just paid them 3 weeks ago to shoot the provincials. I just paid $90 to join both of those factions to shoot the provincials. He says, yeah, that was the end of the year.
You didn't pay 90.
Yeah, it was 45 and 40.
No, it's 20 and 20. And one's U.S., 45, so it's 45.
$45. And now I got to pay it again 3 weeks later to shoot in September. And he says, yep, because that was the end of the year. You shot one registered shoot the end of the year. Now you got to pay it again to shoot in September. I went, oh, brother.
Candace said the same thing. She was fortunate enough. Emily helped her out and as a new shooter to get a free membership. But hers comes due in September for if we're going to shoot the 5th, 6th.
Yeah.
Yep.
One of the 2 days or whatever it is, depending on when I got to take my oldest daughter to school. We'd like to get down there and shoot with you, or down there for that 5th, 6th day. So one of the days, anyways.
I thought, okay, I got to quit reading messages. I'm on holidays. I'm just going to enjoy this. So
you're getting angry on your holidays.
Yeah. So
just on his holidays.
We had a beautiful spot, big lot. Oh, it was wonderful. The kids loved the beach. The water was beautiful. So anyway, Todd got his new canoe kayak out, and he went
the battleship.
He got it all mounted up there, and he went searching.
We call it rigged, Dad. He got it rigged up,
outfitted,
whatever,
rigged.
So he said,
"Did you get into it?"
I said, "No, I'm not going to come for a day or two." I said, "I want to relax and read." I said, "Let you find all the fish first." So he did. He found all the riffs. He found all the drop offs, and he was catching purse.
Is it my turn yet? My turn yet?
Perch, bass, and pike. That's all I'm going to say. He'll tell you his experiences. So Wednesday, he says, you want to go with me? And I said, yeah, I'm going to go. So I put on a pair of Crocs. I took everything out of my pockets and everything off and wore a life jacket. I'm all outfitted, my tackle box.
Oh, now he's outfitted.
And I got my brand new fishing rod. I haven't even used it yet. So he tells me,
you had to bring that point up.
Yeah.
I haven't even used it yet.
So he tells me, he says, tell me when to start to fish. He said, I'll let you know. He said, okay, let's start right here. Get that cast.
We were trolling. I had worm harnesses. Yeah. I had worm harnesses. I set the fish finder there to hit 2.3 mile per hour was the magic speed.
You figured it out.
And it was, dude, pike, muskie.
And I said, okay, I'll start with a worm harness because that's what he was catching everything on. Perch, pike, and bass, everything on a worm harness.
I'll tell you about my lures experience, but I have to wait till my turn.
I had some brand new lures I wanted to try. I had
like your dad.
There you go.
He's got a whole tackle box, and really, I'm like, we're just trolling. You don't need that. I left my tackle box back on shore.
No, I had a musky lure that I wanted to try. So anyway, I had a hit, missed him. And
you can lead a horse to water, Bill.
He caught a perch.
Yeah, I get it.
Well, then I had another hit, and I'm reeling it in, and it got off.
Lead a horse to water.
So anyway,
sounds like sabotage there. What did Todd do?
Well, at this point, we didn't come this far just to come this far.
This was early afternoon. So he says, well, you know what? This time of day, it's shaded on the other side of the river. Now, this river is wide. I mean, you'd think you're on a lake. And he says, why don't we just cross over the river and come back?
I caught a beauty pike on the other side of the channel.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Well, the riverboat had just gone down. He says, we'll cut across here. And he says, we're going to get their wake, the swells from the riverboat going down the channel. He says, we'll hit them head on and we'll just cross over. So we hit the swells and we go up and come down and water comes over the front and we go up and come down and water comes over the front and we go up and we come down even further and they're getting higher and water comes over the front. Well, the whole inside of the canoe now, I'm ankle deep in water, but I'm not concerned.
So pause. Something that I did that I've never done before was I put in the scupper plugs. So
you did.
Anybody that doesn't know, my wife is now, she's just appeared standing here with a smirk on her face. Why do you care about this podcast so much?
Just tell about the scupper plug.
So this guy, just tell about look at this. They're teaming up on me here, Bill. So I've never used the scupper plugs. Why? Here's the design of the kayak. It's a sit on top. So all the compartments are sealed. You sit on the top and it has holes in it.
I've heard about these scupper plugs before.
Right.
And you're not supposed to put any plugs in because the water goes out the boat when it comes in.
But it is still designed.
In your infinite wisdom, you decided to put them in.
I did a little bit of
maiden trip in this kayak.
I did a little research, and here's what it is. So I took my buddy Petey out a bit ago, and he's a big dude, and so me and him were in it for like 6-7 hours, never had a problem, except we had ankle deep water in the kayak the whole time. And it's made so you could fill that thing with water up to the brim and it won't sink, because that's the reason for the scupper plugs. The more weight and everything else, it takes that water on to keep itself balanced and level. And then if I'm by myself, I'm so light that I'm not heavy enough to get water up there. Water comes over, it hits the channels, goes right on down and goes back into the drink through the scupper holes. So there's holes in the top of the kayak that go right down through that drains the water when it comes over.
I think you're taking away from your dad's story.
I got to fill this bit in. So I did a little research and it said, if you don't want that ankle deep water when you're fishing with more weight in the boat, you plug the scupper holes. It will sit you up a little higher on the water, a little less stable, but you won't have that water coming up. You won't have the water coming up through the hole, so you're constantly sitting in ankle deep water with that much weight in the boat. Okay. However, when we took on that much water.
Okay, so the next swell was even higher, and it turned us kind of sideways.
The other issue was I was full throttle. I was full throttle on the motor because I wanted to get across there. So we weren't just going up and down with the swells. We were hitting them head on and putting them up over, which I should have just killed the motor and just
come down sideways.
Went over them.
And I went, oh, here we go. We're going over, and we went over.
Yeah, both of you are in the drink.
I'm in the water.
It wasn't from a swell. It was after the swells.
As I said, we come down off the swell.
You see, he's not telling the story right. It was after the swells had gone.
That is awesome.
It was a good minute and a half.
So many questions right now. So many questions.
Hold on. It was a good minute and a half. 30 seconds. Because I kept telling you, Dad, don't move. Why is it so unstable? Yeah. Don't move.
No, that was the second time.
No, that was the first time.
Let me finish.
Quit hitting me.
Well, then shut up.
I bruised like a peach.
Say, shut up. Okay, so we're upside down. I'm in the water. First thing I'm worried about.
Let me just say, a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor.
I'm worried about my hearing aids. I'm deathly worried about if they die, I'm done. I'm totally deaf. And so I'm trying to keep my head up. I'm hoping I didn't go too far under for too long.
Trying to keep my head up.
I got my fishing pole in my hand. I'm gripping it like life.
He's bobbing in the water.
My Crocs are floating. I grab them. My hat is floating. I grab my hat. My toolbox is floating, or my tackle box is floating. I swim over and grab that. I come back to the boat, and now we got to right it. So he
so it flipped all upside down. The untippable.
He climbs up on it. It's on one side.
Hey, let me tell you, you can stand on that sucker, and it's like a swim raft. It's rock solid.
Right. I'm glad it was you, Don, and not me, because I would have drowned him if it was me. Because I told you that you're getting wet. No, that's not going to happen. Can't see that happening.
There's more to the story, Bill. There's more to the story. It's scupper plugs. Scupper plugs.
He stood up on it, reached over to the side, and then he just kind of fell backward and pulled and rolled it back.
I know what I'm doing.
Okay, so now he climbs in. I hand him my tackle.
You can climb in it.
Fishing pole.
It's not like a regular boat. You climb right in this thing. I'm just trying to defend the poor new canoe.
I hand him everything. Now I got to get in the boat, which I think is going to be tough. A skidoo goes by.
Not a skidoo, a sea-doo.
Whatever. He waves.
We weren't on frozen water.
Are you guys okay? I wave him over. So he comes over, and I said, all I got to do is get in this boat. He says, well, here, climb up on the deck of my sea-doo. So I climbed up on the back of the deck, and he swung around, and I stepped into the boat. He said, are you guys okay? Todd said, yeah, we're fine now. We're good to go. The waves were gone. We're good to go. Okay, see you guys. Thank you very much. We can't get the anchor up because we're so full of water that any movement, it's going to come over the gunwale.
Now, hold on. There wasn't any water on the deck. I had bailed that out.
Not yet. You're ahead of yourself, dude.
I pulled the scupper plugs. No. It was gone. Because I lost my scupper plugs.
Not yet.
But I don't ever need them again because that's the reason.
Because he said what we're going to do, and I'll tell you why we haven't bailed yet. He says we're going to go to land and bail. He says I'll put the motor full tilt. Just leave the anchor there because we couldn't pull it up. We would have tipped. And so he's heading for shore. Well, we're going slower and slower and slower because the anchor is piling up with weeds and weeds and weeds and weeds. And I said, okay, we got to get the anchor up. There's no way we're going to move. We're not going to get there. So I get my fishing pole and I swing us around. The anchor won't move. The rope won't move, but I can swing us around where he can grab the anchor rope. So he tries to grab the anchor rope.
You're taking up a lot of time.
And move and pull it up. And no way. And he says, stop moving. We're going across there. He says,
I mean, Bill, if he moved a little bit, you thought you were going in the drink. If he just even thought about moving.
I'm behind him. He can't see me. He said, where are you moving? Bill, I am sitting solid still. My feet planted on each side of the gunwale. My hands gripping the back of his seat perfectly in the middle, straight, hoping that he gets us to shore. And then every once in a while, it'd go to the right. And I'd go to the left to keep it from going over. And then it'd go to the left. And he says, stop moving. I'm not moving. I'm only countering the tips. I am not moving. He kept yelling at me. Why are you moving? I'm not moving.
Because he's so agile.
I'm a statue here.
I'm a statue.
So the next thing you know, we're gone again. Over we go.
Oh, you fell it
again, right upside down. This time, I'm not holding my fishing pole. My brand new fishing pole is at the bottom of Lake St. Louis.
So the first time we didn't lose anything, though. And then,
nothing.
So this time, I quickly climbed up on the boat. And I'm standing on it upside down. And it is very sturdy upside down. So I'm standing on it, looking, and I could see his tackle box that's now full of water starting to sink. And I got a decision to make. My catch board, my hog trough that for my tournaments, I have to measure my fish with and take a picture and submit them. It's sinking on the front end of the boat. His tackle box is sinking on the back end of the boat. So, Dad, for you, I dove in and grabbed his tackle box and let my catch board go.
Yeah,
that's the honorable thing to do when you put him in that kind of situation.
I think it was all his fault.
What does he need a tackle bag for? You just drowned his favorite brand new rod that he hadn't even caught a fish with yet.
Right. So he flips it back over. I said, okay.
So not only did you tip it once, the untippable battleship.
We're going to get why,
twice.
though. We're going to get there.
Yeah. So he gets it back over. And so I said, we're going nowhere until you bail this. He says, well, I got to get my bail bucket out. So I'm just hanging on the side. I got my hat. I got my Crocs again. Swam and got them. Threw them back in.
I handed him his tackle box. Here, hold this.
And everything.
He's wearing a life jacket. Here, hold this and float.
Everything except my fishing pole. So he opens up the battery compartment, and it's full of water. So he undoes
the hull, Bill.
battery.
That was the problem. The hull, because my bail bucket was in the hull. You just called it a battery compartment. It's not a battery compartment. It's the freaking hull. It's the whole boat. The inside of the boat was full of water.
So he takes out the battery and he bails. And he bails and he bails. And then he bails the inside. And he puts the battery back, clips it up. Everything's good. The battery's still good. The motor works great. I said, but you ain't towing this anchor. Before I get back in this boat, let me pull up. So it took the two of us, him in the boat and me on the outside. It wouldn't have taken two of us. Muscling it up in that rope. And when he got up to where that ball was, on top of that ball was 4 feet of weeds. And I kept pulling all the weeds off until we finally got.
But you know what wasn't there? Your fishing rod.
Shut up, Bill.
So we got
but his tackle box was.
Yeah. So not your board, though.
He says, are you going to get... I said, there's no way I'm getting in this boat. There's no way I can climb over the side, especially with a bulky life jacket. I said, just tow me in. And without me in the boat... without me in the boat to blame me for tipping, just see that dock over there? Head to that dock. It's got a ladder right on the side of it. And it doesn't look like anybody's at that cottage.
Oh, no, they were there.
I didn't see them.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, away we go. And he's towing me.
It was apparent he didn't know anybody was there when he went up and sat in their Adirondack chairs. Soaking wet.
It took him another 10 minutes to get to that dock. And he's towing me. And I kept thinking, this water's nice. It's
78 degrees.
So anyway... He takes me right up to the ladder. I go up, and my hearing aids now are beeping. So I know they got wet because the batteries are dying.
But they still worked. I don't know why he panicked. Because
my hearing aids are still working. Because
if they were going to go, it was when he was underwater at least the second time.
Let me tell you, I was panicking. That means there's water in them to kill the batteries because they were brand new, and they last a week.
So they got a little wet. They were still on.
They're in...
He doesn't understand electronics.
Aids. So if they're dying,
it isn't like, they got wet in an hour. It's going to go.
Are they shorting out my hearing aids or not? That's what I was worried about. So I got up on the dock. Well, it's all boards with spaces. I'm not taking my hearing aids out here.
Is that why you walked all the way down? I'm there.
And I went down through the crack.
I'm now bailing more water, making sure we're good. And so he's walking up their deck. I'm thinking, where is he going?
I went up.
Hold on. Did you make it sound like you were doing him a favor by bailing that boat out by yourself?
Yeah,
I just want to know how that's going on.
Scupper plugs.
So I went up to the cement part, sat where I couldn't drop my hearing aids through anything or lose the batteries through anything, and blew them out and dried. I didn't have nothing dry on me to dry them with, so I'm waving them in the air and trying to get them blown out and dried. And I put them back in. They both fire up, but the batteries are still going beep, 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 meaning they're dying. So I knew they'd gotten wet to kill the batteries. I thought, okay, as long as they don't short out, I'm good. So I get back in the boat. And I said,
you went back in that thing? I would have called for an Uber.
I said, just get me back.
Oh, Bill.
So he gets me back to the beach. We get up on our beach, and Jen comes down thinking, they're back already. Catch any fish? And the girls are saying, he's back already. And I can't hear any of this. I can see their lips moving, but both batteries are dead now. Jen helped pull up. And I just mouthed to Glenda, I can't hear you, and I'm in a beeline for the cottage because I want to blow them dry with the hair blower and get new batteries in them and make sure they're okay. And then Glenda says, you can't hear me? Like I could see her mouth move. You can't hear me? no. And I made the motion of going over into the water, and I held up my 2 fingers and said, twice. So before I got too far away, I heard Todd say, there's the problem. Jen helped him stand it up, and about 150 gallons came out of the back of the boat. It was full underneath. I mean, it was full.
So every time you moved, that water inside the hull shifted.
And I thought we were going to go over again before we got back.
That was the problem. Every time you moved, it would just, the whole boat would, because water. So with the scupper plugs, it filled up, and I don't have the dry bag in the hatch. I have that's out. So that technically the seal is not sealed there, right? It's good for water coming over and splashing. But if you fill it with the scupper plugs, it's going to run in that hatch, because I took out the bag to put my battery in there.
So I'm kind of impressed though that everything after flipping twice still worked.
Oh, I had to unplug the motor. The motor was still running when it was upside down. I had to reach up underneath it and unplug the motor to get it to stop.
You didn't have the key fob around your neck?
Yeah, but it doesn't work. It doesn't transmit underwater.
My tackle box is about 18 inches.
The receiver was underwater.
My tackle box is about 18 inches high, and it's got 3 big drawers in it.
Those big Plano things. It's huge. It's massive.
And every one of those containers and the top was right full of water.
Oh, I dove down. I dove off the top of that kayak and dove and grabbed that sucker.
So I did.
How deep was the water there?
We were in the first time or the second time?
Well, the time that you lost your dad's fishing rod.
The second time, it was about 8 feet. Let's just say
you couldn't dive down and grab the fishing rod in 8 feet of water?
I couldn't find it. No, I did drive over my catch board because it's bright neon green. I drove over it once with Avery in the boat, and I was like, there it is. And we drove right over it when we were trolling. But I didn't want to dive down and leave Avery in the boat by herself.
That's good call.
So,
good call,
and then I never.
She would have took off on you, and you would have been stuck right there.
Possibly. So and then I never drove over it again.
I didn't comment earlier, but I did get my lures washed like your dad.
Yeah. So, all at once. That's awesome. That's called like efficiency right there.
Lure washing machine. Yeah. That's cool.
Good.
Wow. And tell me, on what day of the trip was this, just so I can understand how the rest.
Wednesday.
Yeah,
so like halfway through.
Yeah.
You were already frustrated with each other at this point in time, and then you threw him over.
I'm blaming him.
Oh yeah. Your boat. You're the captain.
And I gotta be honest. I would go again, only I would go with bare feet, a bathing suit.
Which I was wearing, by the way.
I would go with a float attached to my fishing rod float attached to my rod, and I would go with everything like my tackle box if I took it, or maybe just a small pack with the lures I wanted, tethered to the boat somewhere.
Yeah, and that makes sense. That's exactly how I was going to do it when I went with Todd too.
But worms, it floated too.
Yeah, we saved the worms.
It was full of water, but it floated.
I was going to ask, and it doesn't sound like you were wearing it. If your life jacket blew
it was
up
in
on
my dry bag, and my dry bag works.
Yeah,
thank goodness. That would have cost me $40. I'd had to go buy a new charge.
So
it would have been a nice test for it to see if it actually inflated.
Right? But I don't want to know that, Bill, because really, unless you hit your head, right, you're all good. So if you're with somebody,
I would go again, knowing now that he lost the scupper plugs. He can't put them in anymore.
Yeah, it was the scupper plugs. I'll never use scupper plugs.
How did you lose the scupper plugs?
Because I pulled them, and then I left them. So normally they're clipped on a little hook. Since the day I bought it, they're on bungee strings, and they're just clipped on a hook that came with it, and I just left them there. And then so when Dad was getting in, I thought, all right, I'm going to put them in. So I put them in. Well, then when we took on water, I had to drain the sucker. So I pulled them and left them laying in the bottom of the yak. Well, the second time we flipped, I seen them. I looked, and they were floating away from the boat towards shore, but Dad's tackle box was sinking and my catch board was sinking. And so I'm torn. Scupper plugs, catch board, tackle box. So I quickly evaluated what was worth more, and I went after Dad's tackle.
Yeah. Well, I think you made the right choice.
New catch board comes tomorrow. Scupper plugs, I ain't even going to buy them.
I was going to ask you, we were talking, I don't know, last night or night before, and you said, oh, that reminds me, I need to buy a new board. And I was going to ask why, but I figured we'd get into that. And I'm glad I didn't ask why last night, because this is way better for me to know that you actually flipped this boat not once but twice, and I can say with all honesty, I told you so.
Only because of the dang scupper plug filled that thing up with water, and then it ran into the hull through the unsealed port.
I knew you were going to get wet, so and in the middle of the St. Lawrence River to boot.
Nice water though, 78 degrees and crystal clear. The zebra mussels have cleaned that. You could see straight to the bottom at 12 feet.
Not clear enough to catch your dad's fishing rods.
Well, if I probably looked longer, but we wanted to get him to shore. You wanted to get to shore. We probably could have stood there and looked.
You got a fish finder, you didn't mark the spot?
Well, no, I did not. Evidently,
about that one when
it
I was
still runs underwater as well.
Yeah. Push a button. It's called Waypoint.
But I was impressed that it didn't short out from being underwater.
I'm kind of impressed with that too, to be honest with you.
Yeah. They're completely submerged for a good 10 minutes. Now 5 minutes. Now maybe, I don't know. Yeah. No, it was long enough because I got up on top. And I stood up on top of it and was looking around and surveying and figuring out what we were going to do. Because the second time he's floating. We're experienced now. We've already done this. Dad, just float there, I said, and let me figure out what we're going to do next.
Yeah, when we got back, that's the first thing he said when he got out of the water. He says, well, we know that worked all right. We knew that we could get out of that if we flip over again, don't we?
Yeah, you're not going to die.
Figured out. Yeah, he can flip it back by himself and everything. We make sure everything's tethered or tied. And I said, yep, I'd go again, just not this week.
Well, you're a brave soul, Don. I can tell you that for sure. And your cell phones?
Well, so now bigger story yet. Bigger story. Normally I do. I probably wouldn't have. It probably would have been in my pocket because I was videoing and taking pictures. But my flip phone for the 4th, 5th time had to go back in for repair because I have the new Samsung Flip that folds in half, and the freaking where it folds, the screen's bubbled. So right before we left, I thought no better time to send it in now and get it repaired and get back. I'll get a new phone when I get back, right? Like they'll fix it. It's under warranty. So I had my old phone, my Samsung S9, which happens to be waterproof. So it was in my pocket, believe it or not, but it's waterproof.
And I learned from the last time I was in a boat with him, I learned from that time that I left my phone and my camera. I left them on shore because the last time I was in a boat with them, I ended up in the water and they both died.
For the record, that was a 12-foot aluminum, and it was him. All him.
Hey, let me ask you quick. How long is your battleship?
See, now this is 12 feet.
Well, there you go. Stay at a 12-foot boat.
See, boat. It's coming full circle now, Bill. Is it the boat?
Oh, yeah.
What happened there was
he tried to get out and he flipped it.
He had seats for the boat that he could fasten down in the boat, and they would move side to side, so I could sit down in the boat. Forgot to take them with us. So I had a lawn chair in the boat.
Not a lawn chair. It's those director's chair like he uses for turkey hunting. Like they sit up high. Chair. But it's a flat bottom 12-foot boat.
Gravity was like 4 feet above the deck.
I went to get out
because he was getting out on the dock and he was using that as a walker and then put his foot up on the dock and didn't get the other foot moving. I didn't get
my foot up on the dock yet. I have my hand on the chair, and with my bad knee, I had to hold it straight and get my right foot. See, it would have been worse
with those seats because you wouldn't have had something to hold on to.
When I went to put my right foot up on the dock, the chair tipped left, and it was not anchored anywhere. And when it went left, I had to bring my foot in, and the boat tipped left, and the momentum, and I thought, I'm going in. I don't want to bash my head on that far gunwale, so I just dove, chair and everything. So he jumped back in the boat and grabbed the chair before it sank and grabbed my hat before it sank.
See that?
Yeah, well, that's pretty good.
Right? I was agile. I'm like a ninja. So, now, moral of the story, he didn't wait for me. I got out, was moving stuff. He had to get out. He couldn't wait. And so now that's twice he's gone in the drink. But that first time he couldn't blame me. So the second time.
This was a doubleheader.
Could you blame me this time too? Now you're starting to see. So
wow, that was a great story. Yeah, and I'm very happy to know that one, you guys were safe at the end of it, because next time there'll be an even better story of how Don pushes you into the water.
No. So we came out unscathed. He gone now. He has an appointment, so he's disappearing.
Well, I think that's good. I think that we learned a very valuable lesson there, that never doubt the almost guy, because he is right in various ways. And,
Bill, let me tell you,
the second thing that you learn is let somebody else try it first. So when you're dealing with Todd.
Scupper plugs. I'm telling you, the dumbest freaking things on the planet. I don't even know why. Yeah, I'd rather have 2 inches of water at your feet and keeping that thing super stable. Like me and my buddy Pete. Pete's a big dude. And me and my buddy Pete spent 5-6 hours in that thing 2 weekends ago with no issues. I was standing up fishing while moving with him sitting in front of me, no problems at all without the scupper plugs. But we did have water. I mean, we were in up to our ankles of water in the kayak. But that's by design, because I didn't put in the scupper plugs.
It's a kayak. It's not a water type.
And it wasn't coming over. I mean, we weren't on a lake. We were on a pond. So it was coming up through the hole, but it was doing that to stabilize itself, right? So it was keeping it flat. So that was... And I thought, well, I don't want that.
What made you think that this was a good idea? What YouTube channel or fishing?
It was actually on the Facebook group of New Canoe. The guys were saying, if you're going to be close to the weight limit, you put the scupper plugs in. Well, all right then. But
did you write a review? 1 star?
Yeah, no. I'm just not going to use scupper plugs. But really, that's what it was. It was the water kept filling up in the kayak, which would have been fine, because it would have went back down the hole if I didn't plug them. But then it was running in the hatch, and it just filled that hatch. So much water came in, and I mean, it was up all the way. It was full. So all that water ran right into the hatch.
I would have loved to be on the outside looking in to watch you guys. First of all, when you went in the drink and tipped it, and second of all, when you went in the second time and you towed your dad in, and the guys were thinking, hey, what kind of water skiing venture are you doing with this guy in the back of your boat here?
So, but let me tell you, my kids didn't go fishing with me until after that happened. And then they're like, hey, we'll come. Can we come?
It's an adventure going with Dad.
Right? They were like, yeah, we're coming. And their mom's like, you're putting on a life jacket.
And your wife is a smart lady.
So we went. So I took the kids out, and like fishing was phenomenal. I can't argue. It was awesome. Kids, Avery caught her. So my daughter Megan had a cottage up close to this same place. This was a new cottage. We normally go to a different one for the last many years, and we just couldn't rent it this year with the COVID, and it changed to hands. Yeah. And so next year we'll probably be able to go back, but this year couldn't do it. So we went to this new place. But my daughter at 8 years old caught her first pike all by herself on her own rod. I didn't catch it and hand her the rod, caught it all by herself, caught her first largemouth bass, caught her first pike. And to the day, my other daughter at 8 years old now caught her very first pike on her own rod. And let me tell you what, the look on her face, and she caught perch, and then next thing you know, that rod comes darn near out of her hands and hits the water, and the eyelet is in the water. And I had the chairs, so we were facing each other so that I could put her worm on. Like I was sitting in the back and driving, and I put her chair all the way forward and then turned her around facing me because they swivel 360. So she was facing me. So I put her worm on and would help her. And so when that pike hit, good night, the look on her face and that rod hitting that water and her hanging on for dear life, I was impressed. I thought my rod was gone as well. But that thing awesome. Hit the water, almost came out of her hands, and oh my gosh, she was, what, Dad, she's just screaming. And I said, tip up, reel. And she's screaming, Dad, tip up and reel. And it's just taking lines.
That's awesome.
It was
I
pretty
did end
wicked.
up seeing the Facebook video, and the smile on her face was ear to ear.
Yeah, she
was so happy based on what I saw on that.
She kept saying, holy mackerel.
And it wasn't a small pike.
No, it was pushing 30 inches.
It was a nice fish.
Yeah, it was 30 plus inches. I don't know exactly. Like it would have been if I had my catch board longer than it, but
yeah, well, that was in the bottom of the lake.
But so. Yeah, we didn't keep anything under 30 inches. And so we kept it. It was over 30 inches for sure. And it gave her a tussle, man. She was pumped, and then pumped that she got to take it back, and then pumped that she was so pumped she got to supply food, because I had kept a pike the day before. I kept a monster the day before. I mean, I don't even know how many inches. It was long. You know, I put the picture on Facebook, and so I kept it, and we were going to have, me and Dad were just going to eat it. And she didn't care. She's like, I said, now, who all wants me to keep more fish? This is enough for me and Dad. Does anybody else? Nah, we don't care. Well, then when she caught that, can we keep it? I said, well, if we keep it, you have to eat fish with me and Grandpa. Okay. And you have to clean that with Grandpa. Okay. So then she came back. She was so pumped that she got to provide food for the family. I caught supper. She was all cranked up.
That's a rite of passage there, and an honor for her to be able to say that she did. She provided for the family.
Well, and then I felt bad because then she caught two more, and one, I swear to you, I didn't get it in the boat, was a muskie. And you
didn't get it in the boat?
I didn't. It fought harder. It was bigger than that pike. And it fought harder than that pike. And when she got it to the boat, that thing seen the boat and it was gone. I mean, so then she had to fight it all over again. And man, she finally got it, and she's using a really big rod because that's what we were trolling with. I had 20-pound braid on it, and with a steel leader on the worm harness. And when she finally got it to the boat, it dove down again, and I was afraid my tip was going to break off my rod because she was holding it straight out, and it went under the boat. And I'm saying, you got to bring it up. Don't bend the tip so much. And I'm trying to tell her, keep the tip up and don't move it down, and then reel, and you got to reel. And just as she then brought it up, I said, okay, don't snap. And I said, don't snap the tip. And she went to boat flip this frickin' muskie. And I'm trying, as I'm watching her horse this thing, she put that pole between her legs on the seat, 2 hands above where the reel is, and lifted and reefed it towards her. Well, that rod went 90 degrees, bent over, almost horsed him out of half his body was out of that water. And I thought for sure, okay, the rod tip's going to break. I got 7 more rods. Who cares? Right? Yeah. Rod tip's going to break. Okay. But I've got the net. I'm trying. I'm going, holy, don't boat flip. I slide that net under there as fast as I could, trying to get, and I just missed him as he came off the hook and dropped it. And my rod didn't snap. Line didn't break, nothing. I mean, 20-pound test, that's pretty horsepower stuff. So with a steel leader. But
20-pound braided too.
20-pound braid. It's like, that's insane, right? So it came off the hook, fell in, and it hung there for a minute. And I double netted trying to dip net it, trying to get it, and it was too big for my net. I couldn't get him. I got half his body, and when he felt the net, he was gone. So, but he had some stripes.
Lived that one down too, eh?
Yeah, he had some stripes, and she didn't care much. He had some stripes because she had already caught. She just had a big one in the boat, right? It was sitting under her seat. So he had some stripes, had a bit of color to him, and I'm 99% sure that sucker was a muskie. And then she caught another pike that was smaller than the one she had, and she wanted to keep it
Same
too.
Trip?
Yep, it was all back to back. Right? Like it was all within 15, 20 minutes. And,
you guys are on them.
And I tell you what, it was just really, once I found that spot and I marked it, I knew because I went out by myself the second day. I didn't get out the first day. I went out by myself the second day. I put on these jigs that I got and big, like really big, heavy jigs. And because the St. Lawrence, I mean, it went from a 60-foot drop off on the channel, and then it'd go 30, 20, and then up into 12, and then 10, 9, and it leveled out around 7 foot of depth. So I just went out to the 20 foot cast out. So I was probably hitting the 60-foot drop, let my line sink, and then just drifted back in and dragged that jig and just kind of, and it had rattles in it, and it had, I put a port tail trailer on it. And so I was just jigging it up the edge. And I'll tell you what, twice in a row, 2 times in a row, right, back to back casts, I would jig that up. My rod went right over. And then it just came free. Really easy.
Oh.
jig gone. Just so I knew at that time,
jig was gone.
Jig was gone. It was pike or muskie. I didn't have a steel leader on at that time, right? It was the first night. I'm thinking smallmouth on the drop off.
Yeah, you're just learning the
that's
body
what I'm
of
fishing.
water.
So the minute that happened, so I tied on another one, did it again, lost that one on the second cast, and I'm like, well, that was pretty stupid, Todd. There goes $30. So at that point, I went, okay. The people at the cottage beside us had given us worms. They were leaving, and so I thought, you know what? I want to locate these suckers fast. I want to see what's in here. The way I know how to do that is a steel leader worm harness, because I didn't have any steel leaders with me in my kayak. They were back at the cottage. So I thought, okay, steel leader worm harness. I do have that. Put a big juicy worm on the back with a couple spinner blades and the beads up front, and let's just troll this edge and see what happens. And so, put a bunch of line out and see what happens. I was into them. I mean, every time it would come up to 7 foot, drop down to 9, bang. Come up to 7 foot, drop down to 9, bang. And the biggest pain in the butt was keeping the perch off your line, because them little worm stealers. Yeah. But I mean, it was nonstop. Caught a couple largemouth. Never did catch a smallmouth, but caught a couple largemouth and a whack load of pike. I mean, it was just phenomenal. I knew you catch a pike on every troll, 2 or 3, because if the troll was long enough. So then once the dad was done, the kids wanted to go with me. Well, then it was on, and then Megan went with me every night after that. Avery, I had to make an hour for Avery, and then Avery got what they called the prime time, because that's when she caught the pike first. Megan went out with me right before Avery. So Megan went out about 6 o'clock, 6:30, and we caught a bunch of perch and no pike. And so Avery, then I took her back and grabbed Avery. So Avery went with me at 7, 7:15, and she nailed the pike, muskie pike, and a bunch of perch. And so then it was, okay, that's the magic time. So then Megan said the next night, well, I want to go at the magic time, take Avery first. So I took Avery first, who still caught a pike, and then took Megan, and then Megan started hammering them. And so Megan then wanted to keep one. And I said, well, we got enough pike. If you catch a good sized largemouth. And so she caught a largemouth, just, I didn't think it was big enough to keep the clean. But then she caught a couple really good sized perch. So I said, well, they're good eating. So then she was pumped because she got to keep a fish that we were going to eat.
That's good. So, it's important that, both kids feel the importance of providing for your family and learning, how to clean the fish and all Megan, that kind of stuff that goes with it.
So the first perch that Grandpa cleaned it with her, the second perch, she did all by herself.
Did she?
Filleted it and everything all by herself.
Good for her.
And then ate it. So that was pretty cool. And then she was more, I had a text. I texted my wife and I said, I didn't tell you this, but Meg is bringing back some perch, and she is pumped because she didn't care that she didn't catch a pike. She was pumped that she was getting to supply fish for the family. That was that she kept saying it. All right. I'm supplying fish for us to eat. So that's awesome. It was pretty wicked.
That makes it all worthwhile when you can have an experience like that. And I bet you it tasted great coming out of,
it was, I tell you what, the meat was phenomenal. Like the pike, you're like, man, it's a snot rocket, right? Like, come on.
Yeah.
But it was nice white meat, clean. I mean, it was, and you know what, me and Dad, because you got the Y bones and pike are bony, but they were so big and we just cut the bones out. No issue at all. And like the kids won't eat it if they feel bone in that. Not a problem. We got most of the bones out. I knew the couple pieces had some bones still in them. I took those ones, but I mean, there wasn't even that many. And you could, after they were cooked, we battered them. And fried them. And so then you just,
that's the way we do.
I cut it with my knife. You could see the bone sitting there. You just pulled it out.
You brought your knife?
Dad had
you didn't have to borrow your dad's knife.
Dad had 2 fillet knives.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Mine's still in the package in the garage.
Yeah, it's not in the bottom of the St. Lawrence.
Dad was coming. I left my whole tackle pack back.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
I had one rod. That was all I took. One rod with the worm harness already on it. That is all and it was locked in the fish holder, in the fishing pole holder.
I got myself geared up with 4 rods. I will when the new one shows up. But yeah, I don't like changing lures when I'm out there.
I don't. I roll. So when I fish by myself, I'm rolling with 7, right? I got my kayak tackle pack that goes right behind my seat, and it's got 6 rod holders, and then I've got a rod holder like a Scotty mount in my track that sits in front of me. So I roll with 7 rods, but with Dad coming, 1, and I locked it in that rod holder. So
I was going to ask. I usually see you geared up with multiple rods, and I thought for sure they would have been in the bottom of the drink with.
They would have. I might have to invest in rod floats, but I don't plan like by myself. I'm telling you, the thing's unflippable. I say that now.
You've been in that situation when you were in Buckhorn too, right? When we had some waves and
worse water in Buckhorn.
That situation.
Yeah, worse water in Buckhorn, and I didn't even sweat. I didn't even care. I was paddling into Whitecap, coming at you like Whitecap's on a lake, but I was paddling into Whitecaps, letting them hammer the front. Didn't even worry. Didn't even bother me. Right, no problems. Didn't have the scupper plugs in. Water come over the top, right down through the hole. Didn't even think about it. Didn't even care. Like the thing is stable. It was the water inside the hull.
Well, lesson learned.
But pinpointed them by doing that. I tell you what, that's my go-to. When I get to a spot, and we've done it before, we rented a cottage on Rice Lake, and the fishing was slow the first day, second day, and had my father-in-law's boat, and it was with my in-laws, and which is like a huge, I can't even think. It was a Lund, a big fishing boat, like a walleye boat. And so I took it out, and we were trying to find the bass because it's Rice Lake, man. It's supposed to be largemouth capital of Ontario.
All kinds of bass on Rice Lake.
Yeah. So I took it out and we were just struggling. So I said, I'm going to take it by myself. Nobody would want to go fishing. Okay, great. I grabbed some minnows. I threw on a friggin' pickerel rig, and because I didn't have any trolling, it didn't have any worm harnesses, and I just thought, not going to anchor nothing. I'm just going to drift with 2 minnows on a pickerel rig, big sinker, and just throw it. And when I get a hit, I'm going to mark that spot. And I'll tell you what, that became the magic spot. It's just live bait, find the spot, and now you've pinpointed them, you're good to go.
Well, that's the whole thing about, when you're fishing tournaments and pre-fishing, how it's so important, because you got to find where they're holding up.
That's
at
it.
What time of year that with the water temperature, how even the ferry going through on that lake turns up stuff from the bottom and the depths.
That's it.
And if you can find a pattern that works, or a color, or a speed.
2.3 mile per hour. That was the magic spot. Yep.
And you remember when we were with Nick, we weren't successful, but he has the speed. He's got the presentation. And if we went too fast, he knew right away how those baits were working.
He could see the lines, how they were. Yeah, you're right. And he'd be like, "No, we're too quick."
If you can figure that out early in your week, you're going to have a great week.
It's true. And that was what I wanted to do. I thought, man, I'm not going to spend 4 days trying to find a good spot and then 2 days getting to actually fish. So that was my game plan. And then, that ferry every night at clockwork, 8:30, it would go by us. It was a dinner cruise. It was a triple decker freaking ferry coming out of Gananoque, and it would go by us, and it would put some waves. And I had Megan out, and I thought, here they come, Megan. And I didn't know it went out at night. It was in the middle of the day when it swamped me and Dad. And Megan's like, "Oh, right on." What? You just sit tight. I said, and this time I'm not going to like full throttle hammer into them. We're just going to ride them. And she was loving it. Woohoo! I was a little on edge because I'm like, I've already flipped with Dad, and I know we're going to be fine now. And she's wearing a life jacket, and she could swim, but she's wearing a life jacket. But it still looks bad that the father, I go back, your father swamped his daughter. What are you taking your daughter out? It's unsafe.
You would never hear the end of that one,
right?
Your wife would have thrown you over the dock.
But I tell you what, though, it's I feel good because, and that's what I said to that. We both knew we weren't dying. There was no panicking. It was just a pain in the butt thing, right?
Sure.
Like it's cutting into my fishing time.
To the cottage were you?
So, we were never really that far, right? So, I mean, we were maybe a 5-minute ride doing.
Oh, okay. I mean, it was far enough away that your family didn't see the.
Oh yeah, no. They couldn't see it. No, there was an island between us.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's good.
But so that they could only see the right. But I mean, it was like a rock star now. That thing flips, hop on top. I know how to flip it back over. Had to do it twice. All on my own.
To do.
Like it piece of cake. Doesn't bother me. And the water was warm. It felt good. I was refreshed.
I think I might be comfortable enough now to head out there with you.
No scupper plugs.
No scupper plugs. We're going to have a small tackle bag because my big one is not coming with us. And one rod and not the good one. Yeah, not the good rod.
Yeah, you bring the good one. I might tip you on purpose and then go back.
Yeah. Pass.
I tell you what. So, but yeah, no, it was awesome. It was great. And the kids, them wanting to go on it. And then it was every day they wanted to go on it, which was awesome. So yeah, from Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, they were with me. We were catching pike, perch, bass. It was awesome.
Well, that sets up a good week. And then unfortunately back to reality today.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have to get some more stories here, I'm sure. But with your dad gone, I don't want to get too deep into any more stories so he can't defend himself. I think
this was the good time to get into it. But
yeah. But yeah, I think we'll cut her off so we can make this a two-part because I got a little bit more to talk about from the gun club and stuff like that. Yeah, you do. And but we'll cut her off here and maybe we'll pick it up for part 2 of vacation, Millard vacation week.
Yeah, it works for me. And the Thom Gun Club week, wicked.
Yeah, it was. We had some fun. So
right on. All right.
It's good chatting with you, my friend.
Agreed.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been at least a week.
At least it seems like so long because it's the stories are just endless when you guys go on vacation.
Yeah, that's the stories we could tell.
On air. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no doubt. We should get Mom here for the others. Bring Jen down. Yeah, that ain't happening.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
I might be able to set that up.
No, I don't think so. But anyway, we'll talk to you next week then, Bill. I appreciate it.
All right, until next time.
Yeah.
Take care.
Have a goodie.
And that'll do it for this week, folks. For the Redneck Country Podcast, I'm Bill, the Almost Guy Tom.
And I'm Todd. Thanks for listening. And folks, if you want to be part of the podcast or you want to give us some feedback or really contact us about anything, feel free to email us at podcast@theredneckcountry.com. Again, that's podcast@theredneckcountry.com. Thanks for listening. Talk to you again next week.